Well, there just came to be this little moment that I decided I'd get back on and do a little bit more demonstration on how I do the work on this little Ukrainian Santa. And there just came this little moment that I finally came down to realizing there were only a few little steps on it left. So this was a good little moment. I could come on, take care of little things like that. And right now I'm going to kind of work on carving out the little nose right below the mustache. And that's a little curve which there'd be certain gouges that would be better for, but I did not plan ahead for that. I did not really go looking for the right gouge to use, the right number to use. I'd have to look into it a little bit more to find out what the right number and right millimeter width would be. So there comes this place where we've done that little work in there, and we've kind of got to like maybe make the little place where the nose is going to come in and draw those little lines just in the places where they will need to be. And see, I've kind of made that little curve there, kind of got a little work into the nose and make the little place where it's got to be. So I say, oh, little work to come, little work to go, I say. And as for this, make the little place come along, and we're going to put in the little lines, make the little eyes in there, and just show a little work now. I kind of drew little circles or semicircles in there to be the eyes, but as it's turning out, we might just end up having to paint the eyes on. That would be the better thing than having to carve them out for a piece like this. There are some Santas where we just simply do it that way. On the ones I carved from Cindy Jocelyn Carhart's pattern in her books, that was kind of just the way that it went. And to make these little places, we've got to work along here the rest of the way. I think while I am at it, I'll go ahead and do that with this one as well. Draw the little place where we make the little curve for the nose, and we're going to try to make other little places as well. We're going to try to put in a little bit of extra work here and there to make it all come out plain and simple and easy. I say this time around, we're drawing in little circle lines and making the little eyes to go. And so as for this place where it's going to be, we've kind of got to make little places for it to go in life and see how in all things it's going to turn out to be. And then we come to note that a little work is coming this way. Make it so it's going to stand out a little more, see a little more, do a little more. and it's going to be kind of just some work that's going to be good to turn out in the end. I seem to be cutting along the little line for the stick there, but I think I made now the little stick come out better. And we're going to try to do a little bit of the same on this one as well. Try to make it so it's going to come out nice and simple and easy, and to the point where a little work is going to make its way to us, see a little light shine through us, and whoa, 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 all the work is just going to be a little ways to deal with, of all things, and see how it's all going to come out fairly simple to do in the end. Finally got the little place made out where the little wand is coming in here, and finally got the work done in that place. There's a place along here where we are going to try to shave along the brow here, just to try to make it so the face comes out a little even on the place where it was chipped right above the eyebrow here. And so that's how we're going to make it do here. And so see a little work come in, make it so we see how it's all going to be, how it's all going to come out and all. And finally there's a little bit of extra work here to do along this face as well, make it so it's going to be a little nicer and easier for us to deal with and work with and fool with, and finally get it where it's going to be just the way we're going to need it all to turn out. So that's how I got the face down on this one. There comes this little moment when we need to cut along these lines to make out the little mustache here, right at the top of the mustache, right below the nose, right below the face, and try to get the work to come out the best way it can, the best way we can make it come out, and see a little ways that it'll be when it all gets to be done. And finally make a little place along here, make it so the nose gets a little more trimmed. And there's a place where on this one too we need to cut these lines to kind of separate the mustache from the top of the face and see what it all comes out to be. And finally the work is making its way too. Now we got this much done. There's a little place where we're going to try to cut out the little center of the mustache now, and got a little line to carve in there, and see how it's all going to be when it all comes out just fine, and making it so it's going to be the work we do, the work we make. And so we've got a little place to go here. We're going to kind of make the line that separates the mustache from the beard, and cut along that little line there as well, because it's just like a few little steps we have left here to take. And finally that's what it is all going to come down to be. So now we got this much carved out. We're going to make the same little steps between the mustache and the beard on this one as well. So we get a little, nice little Ukrainian Santa to come out. And when the work is all done, it's going to be time for us to see a little ways how the work is going to be making its way down to us. Oh, and see how fine little art shall make its way to us. We're going to cut out the little lines to make the little mustache a little rounder down here, and kind of try to make it so the beard is coming the rest of its way here, and then make it out so we can see a little light in this, and finally bring down to the point where we get the little beard in. And so there's just a little rounding off and shaving off to do, and we make it come out fine. Down to this point, we do this little work in here, make it so the mustache is going to fit the face rather better, and finally see the work come out like this. There's probably going to be a little more to do later on, but I'd say we're getting down to the final steps with this guy and making it so a little work won't hurt us here and there. Try to make it so that the beard comes off a little more dimensional from the mustache, and shining a little light in us, making us see how much grace we can find by doing a little work like this, I say. Oh, finally, finally, finally. Little work I say, little work I do, and then making it so it's going to be rounder and better, and finally make it so we see a good light in this little Saint Nick, Ukrainian Santa. I've also kind of heard the stories about old Hospodar. I've even carved a Hospodar out of a book which came out of Ukraine. That was the name of a Santa there, but I've even looked online and seen that that name has belonged in many other places to many other things, I say. You know, for a little work to come into the piece, we're going to say it's all going to be a little extra time in our hands to make it all so it all just comes out right in the end. As you can see, finally got the face out on this one and the face out on this one too. It might be a little good idea. I don't think I have the right kind of piece of, well, maybe I do have it, type of sandpaper to use. And so there's probably several little pieces of thin grit sandpaper here, but it's hard to tell what they are when it comes to the point that even the grit, the number wears off the back. So it's good to kind of try to have a thin grit, because while you're kind of sanding away the worst of the splinters, you don't want to get rid of a lot of the good detail that is in the Santa here. And for the work that come along in it, we're going to see how this guy's going to come out when we all get down to it and see how it's going to be making its way to us, and see how we're going to shine our world into it and make it all just better down to the last little drop, and finally take it all to where it's going to need to be. I say, it's just like the ways it's going to go and how it's going to be. I mean, there's places where the carving came out a little uneven in places, but we kind of gotta get rid of that spot where the splinter showed a little bit. But as for that little extra bit of work, it comes its way to us. In our lives, we see how old Ukrainian Santa comes along, and we finally got it all to where it's going to be good in the end. Kind of got to sand this other one too, get it in place, get it where it needs to be. Oh, try to get rid of all the lines that show out of this and make it so it's all gonna make its way to us and make us all see a little work in us and make us all so, of all things, we just brighten up our own days with all the work we do, making it all so happy for us. I say there's a little line in our work where we kind of see a little ways. We see a little days in our lives when we all come a little harder ways about what we do. Finally, got some little lines to get rid of here, but we'll get rid of those and sand this guy the rest of the way, make him so he's going to be so much better in the end, and work his way into us to shine it to us and see how it's going to be, oh, like a good job of what's coming out of this. I say we finally will get down to where we get rid of a certain line we don't need and kind of cut that out. Make it so he's going to come out better. Make it so he's going to be good in the end. Make it so we see a little Santa Claus that comes out the way it's just ought to be, supposed to be. Make us see little corners of our work that make us all see a little light of day. Down we come to it. Down we come with the work. And so, finally, this is how I got the other one to come out too. There's probably going to be a moment we're going to do a little painting on these. It might have to wait a little while longer, but it'll show up eventually. I'd say make a little line here, make the sleeve and robe a little thinner, and that's how it's all going to work when we get down to it in the end. Make it so it shines bright to us. Make it so we all see a little good in us and make ourselves all just brighten our lives so much better, and down to the last bit of the work, it's all going to be a little working time in our lives and seeing things we never thought we'd see. Let's get amazed by how much we do. Let's get amazed by all the work we do, all the time we put into our things, all the time we invest. So let's get a little time to work along in this, make it all better, make it all for good, and see little things just as they should be, and finally work in all our ways down to the final limb. of all we do. Finally, this has been some work that's made its way to us. This has been the type of work that has made itself come a long way to us. Down with all the work and all the work we do, make it so it's all going to be better, all going to be good for us, and see it all the way it's all going to come out to be. Trying to even things out a little bit here. It's going to come out better, as we know. And so, as we see, we're going to kind of come down to where it's all going to be good in the end. Maybe just a few little places to take things out in a way and make it all so we will see a little better Santa to come out in the end from Ukraine. The little goodie sack and the wand. So finally, this finalizes the series on the carving of these, but there's going to be probably more videos to come. Hopefully when I can get around to painting these, we can have that on video as well. And I want to thank you all for watching, and take care, and goodbye.